Welcome to the SILC World Seminar. The topic for today is liberal green policy. Global warming is real. The ice caps are melting, forests are being destroyed, and oceans are filled with waste. Growing cities means growing challenges in waste management. Liberal parties believe in reason and responsible government. Today we're going to talk about liberal policies for the protection of the environment. I have three distinguished speakers with me today from three different continents. We have Melquiades Pulido, who is the national coordinator of public management of the Liberal Party Vente in Venezuela. Very welcome. We have Sergei Mainuchev, who is a deputy in the Ukrainian city of Kryvyi Rih, for the Liberal Party Syla Lyudey, which means power of people. And we also have from Tunisia Mr. Aziz Ahoum, who is a member of the political board of the Liberal Afek Tounes party in Tunisia. So welcome to all of you. When we speak, when people talk about the environment and global warming in your country, what do they actually speak about? What's the agenda in your country? Shall we start in Venezuela? Melquiades.
Sure. I'd like to start where I should be ending. Venezuela is a good example of a way you can destroy the economy and well-being of the people while destroying the environment. We believe that we can achieve economic improvement, economic growth, and well-being for the population, while preserving the environment through education, through sound regulations, and sensitizing the people. In the case of Venezuela, the people are very much sensitized because, for example, in carbon dioxide emissions right now, we're among the 10th. The oil industry used to produce 3.6 million barrels per day. Today, we are down to 10% of that figure, and we're burning the gas up in the air. Never mind, and we can talk about later the situation in the Amazonia, where mining is a big wound that we're living on the earth. There used to be a couple of well-organized companies. Now we're talking about illegal, informal miners called garimpeiros, who use basically mercury exploding instead of exploding vertical mines, horizontal mines, and really it's you can see it from the sky. It's really terrible. So in all area, oil spills and usage of hydroelectric electricity used to be the norm. 60% of the electricity we used to consume right now is down to half or less than half by a much lower miner. We could talk about numbers later, but that's the general statement about my country.
And people are very aware that this is happening.
Very much, because the oil spills, for example, they affect the fishermen in the sea, the coast, the rivers, the lakes, but even the land is really affecting the agricultural areas. So probably the emissions of the burning of the gas, which because the production is out of control of the natural gas, and instead of recuperating and then transform it into different products, is burned. So probably the people are not much aware of what's going on. But the other two, the Amazon and the oil spills, people are very concerned.
Thank you. How is the situation in the Ukraine, Sergei? Do people care about the environment? What do they care about when they think about the environment?
Hello everyone. For example, in my city, in Kryvyi Rih, we are the center of mining of iron ore. and there are near 10 open pit mines and 5 underground mines and one big steel plant, ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih. And our people, I spoke a lot on this week, on previous week with people on the streets, and I think they know about environmental problem a lot. And the main problem for us, especially in my city, it's problems with air and water pollution. Um, and for now, each party on these elections are talking about air pollution, and they proposed different solutions how to fix it. So 5 years ago, we were only one party that talked about air pollution in our city, and we helped a lot and created some NGOs that are struggling with our steel giants, and now everyone is talking about it. So I think now environmental problems, special water and air pollution, are on the top of the agenda, and the people are talking about this all the time, and we have a lot of photos, a lot of different some new issues, how to fix it.
Mhm. Very interesting. Very interesting how globally it seems that there is a growing awareness of environmental problems. Let's hear from Tunisia. How do people speak about the environment in Tunisia?
Global warming is a big problem in Tunisia. The climate is changed a lot in the past. We have 4 seasons, but now we have only 2 seasons. Temperature to increase to 50 degrees. We have a long summer, but short winter. We also have a long season of drought and sometime we have floods. Some people scared about the future. Big debate in Tunisia.
Mm-hmm. So very interesting. So my next question was, do people in your party care about these issues? But it seems that in all three parties, environmental degradation is really on the agenda. There are many aspects when we talk about the green policy. So let's start with a very local one, waste management. Waste of all sorts is abundant in the oceans, in the rivers, and in landfills in our cities. So now, as political actors, as political parties, what are you proposing as liberal parties to get control over waste management? Shall we start in Ukraine?
Yeah, thanks. It's a big problem in Ukraine. We just, I think maybe a few years ago in our parliament, just started with a new law about waste management, because it's a total mess for now in Ukraine. And we have some problems, for example, unauthorized landfills and waste accumulation. So with this law that we are trying to work with it, it's a 5-level hierarchy of waste management. It's prevention, preparation for reuse, processing, disposal as energy, and landfill disposal. Also, we should create favorable investment conditions for waste sorting entrepreneurs. For example, we are trying to make it in our city. It's combine all these methods, and we are trying to work with local entrepreneurs, and they are helping us to deal with householders with their waste management. We are trying to tell people about how it's important, but still on the high level of our of Ukraine, still not enough efforts to make effective waste management. So We are trying to encourage maybe residents to sort garbage, making comfortable infrastructure for sorting and recycling. But as I said before, some problems with our government. They are not pushing and not giving some effective proposals for people.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's move over to Venezuela. I know the political situation is very chaotic. Is there even anything you can do on the local level with waste management and to talk to people about these more basic issues of environmental degradation?
During the introduction, you mentioned the word denial.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think we are not even to that point with the regime. They just ignore it. It's even worse because you can argue with the denial, and with the ignorance is even worse. Just last Saturday, we had a forum on waste management. There are several things that are going on. Number one, the first complaint from the people is the cost of waste handling, and we believe with sound offers from private companies. By the way, it is privatized, and education, and again, sensitizing the people. We can go and reduce the cost of waste disposal by teaching the people to recycle, to sort, and separate the different kind of waste, and also the reusage. I'll just give a brief example. Bags at the supermarket, they used to be free, so everybody used as many bags they could. Well, today they cost money, and people go with the cloth bags, and in order to save. So we must bring economic incentive, parallel to education, to be able to reduce the waste management and disposal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also in my country, we have just imposed a tax on plastic bags, and it's being disputed because people think that the textile bags aren't that great either for the environment. But nonetheless, it's a global debate again. Now, in Tunisia, you have been in government, and you held the Minister of Environment, and you're also present in many cities of Tunisia in decision making. What is your party doing on the issue of waste management? What are your proposals?
Afek Tounes was part of a government coalition in 2016 and held the Ministry of Environment and implemented two important reforms. The first one is the creation of the environmental police that is raising awareness among the citizens to be more responsible and tracking wrongdoing and punish it. The second reform is the banning of the use of plastic bags in supermarkets. But we know that this is not enough because climate change is not the future, but is happening now. So we need to other big reform.
Thank you. We're now moving into global warming, which is a huge issue. Now, you have been in government in Tunisia, but for the others, if your party came into government, what measures would you propose? What is on top of the list for reducing carbon emissions on the national level? Shall we start in Venezuela?
Number one, electric generation. Just to give you an idea, we used to produce 24,000 megawatts, and right now we're producing around 8. The actual demand is 9, and we used to export electricity. We can go back to hydroelectric dams, which we have them already. Of course, the environmental impact is not zero, but it's much lower than thermoelectric electricity. And the other thing that is going on in remote and farming areas, which are hard to reach, we should promote the use of solar energy. It's easier to install solar capacity than to build the transmission and the distribution to far away and dispersed area, especially in the rural parts of the country.
How do you promote solar energy? We want it to happen, but how do you go about it?
Well, first of all, we are in the equator, so sun we have plenty of all year round. So that's one advantage that we have. Number two, uh, just by giving some sort of probably reducing taxes to zero on the imports and production of the equipment. And eventually we can even think of a subsidy um, for usage of solar energy. Again, it would be harder in the cities, in the higher, concentrated, highly concentrated areas, but in the far away or distant towns, it's much easier because they don't have electricity anyway. So when you don't have the source of the good, you can start from zero with clean energy or cleaner energy than when you already have the structure, the
Thank you.
infrastructure.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that even we are all liberal parties and we are not always in favor of state intervention, but as liberals we still think that the subsidies is an option when it comes to switching into renewable energies. Let's hear from Ukraine. You have never been in government. If you came to government, what would you do?
Yeah, 2 years ago we prepared in cooperation with SILC great environmental program and for our party, and already implementing some parts of it. So I want to tell about 6 steps that we decided that it will be the most effective for Ukraine.
Do we really have
First,
time for all 6 steps?
it will be short. Effective control of environmental legislation implementation, because for now we have a problem in legislation implementation and control. I think it's a main part. Then they create a system of monitoring of the soil, air, and water quality. For example, our party member from Mariupol, he won in one contest and won 1 million hryvnias, and now installing all the monitors for air quality. And it will help, of course, because if we will, at first we should monitor all these things. And on the then also we should monitor compliance with the Paris Agreement, because for now we have the problems. It's again about the legislation, implementation, and effective control. Implement EU regulations on gas emissions. Reduce energy intensity of Ukraine economy. Better conditions for development of renewable energy sources. And the last but not least, I think that we should we have good power of nuclear energy, good specialist of nuclear energy in Ukraine. So we can and we should make Ukraine a center of nuclear energy research and modernize the existing nuclear infrastructure, because we have a lot of old nuclear plants. So, and maybe the last part showed that to use energy efficient and resource efficient products and help people to choose. I want to tell more, but I know that we are have problems with time.
Just one question. I think everybody knows that Chernobyl is a place in Ukraine. So is it controversial to speak about nuclear energy in Ukraine?
I think that Chernobyl was when we had a USSR, and now we have different policies. And I think that we should learn more about nuclear energy. And I don't know what party will decide, what my party will decide to with nuclear power. But I think that we still have a good professionals in nuclear energy, and we should to research.
Thank you. In Tunisia, yeah, we were speaking about solar power before. Is solar power something that you are interested in developing as well?
Yes, we have 9 months of summer. We can use sun. We subsidize solar panel so more people can use it and to have electricity for free. But we try to we will propose to ban diesel cars in Tunisia, which is not easy because very people are use it because it's very popular.
Now thank you so much. I think we've given this is an introductory seminar to the subject of liberal environmental policies, but I'm very interested. When you meet resistance, when somebody is against what you're doing, not only indifferent but against, how do you respond to those people who say that this is not important? So let's hear from Ukraine. I think that you have some people who will not agree with you.
Yeah, for example, big plants. Yeah, they are, of course, they are against us. So we created some kind of coalition of NGOs. It's maybe 10 or more NGOs, and they are struggling with these big plants who are telling us that air pollution, it's not the problem. Everything is okay, and the main problem is absence of jobs. So we have a discussion with them. So and now we have some new law, and it's helping a lot, because if they want to build something new, they should ask the people of the city the first. So they're making like some kind of debates, and the people can write our messages to government, and we can write something like, no, here they will have some issues. So we are gathering people together and going to these debates, and for example, some big plant who want to pollute more air, to build something new, they should deal with people, because it's hundreds of people who is going to this debate and struggling for the fresh air, for example.
So as a political party, you have to build coalitions with civil society. They are your best friends. So you're both working to transform society. I think that we will round up now on a positive note. When you're going into your next political campaigns, what will be your message when it comes to the environment and green challenges? Shall we start in Venezuela?
Well, by the way, just to short on the previous question, we don't find people against the environmental taking care of the environment. The problem is cost. So we have to build in the incentives to make it cost effective to go clean than instead of polluting. So it's a matter of the rules of the game rather than education, or more than education, not rather. So what we're saying, and we already, our speech is the only way to grow is sustainable, through sustainability. And we know what is sustainability, because we have destroyed 80% of our gross internal domestic product. So you can destroy production, you can destroy well-being, and going the opposite way is the sound way to go to grow in a sustainable manner. So that's mainly our speech, and without the environment, taking care of the environment, eventually you're gonna pay the cost now or later.
Now or later. In Tunisia, when you campaign now, how do you campaign on the environment when you speak to the voters?
The big problem is the crisis, economic crisis. Unions, they don't like to speak about reform because they think that economy are more important than the environment. And poor people will pay high price. It's expensive for the. But we try to convince them that in the long time, in the future, is very interested for them, and it's very important to invest in environment. It's better for us for the future.
I agree. In Ukraine, you're just out of an election campaign. What was your main slogan when it comes to the environment?
The main slogan we have statistics. Statistics in healthcare, statistics with problems with different diseases. For example, diseases with lungs, diseases with oncology, especially these diseases in the cities with the most polluted cities. So we can see that problems with lungs are higher in the cities with that are polluted, like Kryvyi Rih or Zaporizhia, for example. And we are telling this to people, and people know about it. They said, yes, I know that, for example, near the sea, there are the less problems with healthcare. So, of course, it was our first message to people. If you want to be more healthy, you should think about the air, you should think about the water resources, because if you will think only about economy, only about your money, it will not help your children, for example. For me, it was very interesting that people in my city, in Kryvyi Rih, I talked a lot on this campaign with them, and everyone put the problems with air, the problems with water resources on the first, second, or the third top of the list of the problems.
Very important, and a very important message is that liberal parties are evidence-based. So if we talk about evidence, that's our main argument as liberals, not only emotion. Of course, we have emotions too. I would like to thank all three of you from 3 different continents for sharing your insights with us and with the SILC World Seminar. I would like to thank the listeners to the seminar as well. It's been very nice to have you here. We hope to have a continued conversation. This is just the start of a conversation, and we hope in the future, of course, to meet in real life and not only on the screen, although I think the technology worked really excellently. So thank you very much for participating, and thanks for listening. Looking forward to work with you in the future.
Thank you very much.